everyone, welcome back to a new tutorial which will be on a two-piece set of a Ruched Bubu dress and a shorts. Trust me, it's going to be very beautiful. My name is Bilikis. You're welcome if this is your first time, and please don't forget to subscribe. Now, to make this fabric, I have 4 yards of African print fabric and doll face satin to make the collar in front and the pockets. So I will be making use of this. How did I fold the fabric? Assuming this is the fabric, African print fabric comes by 45 inches. So this is the 45 inches in length and the width of 4 yards. So here I want the length of my boubou top to be 40 inches with seam allowance inclusive. I'm not going to be having any joining at the shoulder. So here I have 40 inches with seam allowance, okay, to hem it at the lower part. So that means 80 inches on fold. Remember that. So how did I now fold? So since I have 45 inches, which is the standard for African print fabric, I just measured 80 inches, which is about 2 yards and quarter yard. So 80 inches is this way, and all I did is to fold this way and then this way. So this upper part will be for the front and this will be for the back. So that is how I folded. So looking at the fabric, so this is how I folded. So you can see that. So this will be the neck. So now let's quickly cut out the fabric. Here, after folding it by the 45, here I have about 22.5 inches. So this is it, 22.5 inches on fold, which is okay for the boubou because it's also going to be runched at the shoulder. So the length is okay. So just for the selvage, I'm just going to cut about 1 inch off. Okay, so now let's quickly just do that. So I'm just going to measure, since I have 22.5, so I'm just going to make it like 21.5 so that the selvage can be off. So I'm just going to mark it all down and cut it off. Cut out the selvage and that is off. So before we talk about the neckline, the first thing I want to do is the sleeve opening. So for the sleeve opening, I'm just going to make that 11 inches. So it's free, yeah. Even is like a one size fits all. So from that point, since it is a boubou dress, you can just come in by 4 inches and then take this straight down, or simply at this 11 inches point, take the largest circumference. Like for me, my largest circumference is the hip circumference, which is 48.5. So when I divide that by 4, that's going to give me 12. So for his, for extra room, I can just add extra 3 inches to that 12, which will be 15. For seam allowance, 16. So 16 is somewhere around here. So you can make use of that too if you want it, but I can just make it 17. So on that point, so 17 inches is here because it is a boubou dress. Can you see? So this same 17, I'm going to measure it all down and mark a straight line. You see, so at this point, just make a curve, a slight curve. Can you see? And then I'm just going to cut it all out to have the main dress. So this is what the top now looks like. Can you see? So that is done. So now let's move to the neckline. The neck width, I'm going to make it 3.5. So between 3 inches to 3.5 or even 4 inches is fine. If it's a bigger person, maybe 4, but 3.5 is what I have here. Then the back depth is going to be 1 inch or 1.25. Okay. And then form a curve. Now for the front. The front now, I want the neck depth to be between 8 inches to 9 inches is fine. Okay, so depending on how open you want it to be. So let me just make it 9. So this is 9 at this point. And I'm just going to connect to that point. So and from that 9 point, you can just go in by, let's say 1.5 or 2 inches, but I will do 1.5 because of seam allowance, or 2 inches because I want the width of my collar to be around, let's say 2 inches too. So I could just do 1.5 or 2. Okay. So I'll go in from that 9 inches depth. If you don't want it as low as this, you can make it 7. So between 7 and 9 is fine. Then connect the width. So the neckline is formed. So the first thing I will do is to cut that of the back. So I'm cutting it together. So that is it. So this will be the front and this will be the back. So for the front now, whatever you are taking in here, depending on the width of your collar, I will keep taking it down to mark a straight line. So once you are done with that, so the next thing now is to take up the front panel. So to make it easier, you could just open it up because this is now the back. Okay, and then the front, I'm just going to cut that up. So that is it. So this is what the front now looks like. So both opened, then straight down. So this is the neck region. The next thing I'm going to do is to measure. Since it's still on fold, I'm just going to measure all around to the end. So whatever I have. So here I have 44.5 inches. So that will be times 2. So I'm going to cut out a fabric by that by 5 inches. So that is it on that. Since we are done with that, and that measurement I want you to keep in mind, make sure you notch the center back here, is to measure from the center back all around to the 9 inches point. Okay, so to the 9 inches point I have 12.5 inches. So note that we are going to use that on the collar. So right now at this area of the sleeve, just fold in 1/2 inch, then 3/4 or half again. The collar is ready. All I did is to join as the midpoint, as I've explained earlier, and then open up the seam, then fold. So I cut out a long strip of fabric. This is 5.5, and then on fold I'll have 2 3/4 inches. So that will be for the collar. So now remember I told you to measure the measurement of where the opening is going to stop, which is 12.5. So if you want it lower or to expose a bit, you can do between 13 to 14. Then another thing is this: you can decide to have slits at the end of your boubou top, which is easy. So what you are going to do now is to open up the collar. So make sure it's on each other this way. This will serve as the center back. Then the next thing is you can pin it down. So then measure the 12.5 inches. So I can decide to even make it maybe 13 or 14. I want it to be open a bit. So it depends on your preference, okay? But what I actually measured is 12.5. So let me just do 13.5. Good. So now you can just, after sewing this, you just sew it straight down. So but as I said, on your top, if you want a slit in front, which is stylish, let's do that. Just go to your fabric from that 12.5 inches point. So you just take your top, so here, from here to the end. Measure from here where you want the slits to stop. So this is about 31. So you can make it 20, 22, depending on your preference now. So I could just make it like, let's say 20 inches, okay? Then I'll now take this to my sewing machine. make sure these touches each other. So with the crease, you know where you are sewing on. I'm just going to measure from here now and mark 20 inches. So that is the part that will be closed. You could even make it higher to your waist level because you're having a short underneath. So to this point. So I'll take to my sewing machine now and sew from here down to this point. Then I'm going to iron it. So that is that. So the next thing are the strips we will use to have this ruched gathering at the sleeve area and the side of the top. So here I have 4 for the sleeve and 4 for the bodies. Then I make sure the sleeve is shorter than the side. So just for me to know which is which, then you can decide how long you want it to be. Just get a fabric of about 1.5 inches or 2. Then you fold this way and make your strip. Then you sew it straight down. So that is all I did. So now to create the channel at the sleeve region, now for us to have this strip in, all you have to do now is to open the top. So this is the top. Okay, this is the top now. So now with the crease at this shoulder, I know the shoulder line. Then open it up here and then make sure you have hemmed your sleeve, which I have said earlier on. Then get a fabric. This fabric is just 3 inches. So this is 3 inches fabric. Then you get it this way. So I've used my pressing iron to fold one side 1/2 inch, here to 1/2 inch, and then fold the edge to make it neater. So this is what you want to have, fold both edges. Now you place at the end of the sleeve, make sure it is in between the shoulder seam, the shoulder line with the crease. But let's say you have a joining, then you can use that as a guide. But with this crease, I know where the shoulder is. So you are going to start from the sleeve end here, and then you can leave about 3 inches or whatever you want, because you don't want it to get to your neckline. Okay, the strip. So this is this way. Remember, you folded the upper part. So wherever you want it to stop, then you place one strap here, one strap here. Okay, once you place it, then you tack it down with your sewing machine. Once you've now done that, then you can fold back. So once you fold in down, so you know the next thing is for you to sew on this edge. To make it easier, from the middle here, sew straight down on the middle first. So you now have this part open. Then you can now put your strip inside and then finish on the folded part. And also here, you finish on the folded part. So that's how you are going to do that on the sleeve. The trouser will be cutting the front first. So just fold your fabric. My fabric is on fold. Then I want the length of my shorts to be 21 inches. So between 18 to 22 is fine, okay? For me, I want it to be 20 inches. So I will need seam allowance of 2 inches, yes. So now I want to be attaching a separate elastic band. So that should be 1 inch or 1 1/4, depending on the elastic I'm making use of. So here now I have 22 inches. Remember I said it's 21. So without the band now, this will now be 20 inches and then the band will be attached later. So here I have 22 plus 20, that gives me 22. So 2 inches seam allowance to fold for the hem of the shorts. Now my crotch depth is 11.5. Okay, so once I remove 1 inch from that, that should be 10.5 because of the band. So that will be 10.5. Then I will need 1/2 inch to join this to the band. It may go back to 11. So here, this is 11. That's the first line here. Okay, this is 11 inches. Having done that, the next thing I need to do is to impute my hip circumference. My hip circumference is 48 divided by 4 will give me 12. But for ease, I'm going to add extra 1 to it to make it 13. Then I'll come to this upper part and add 13. So at the upper part here, I will come in by 1/2 inch. And here, go up by 2.5. If your crotch is less than 10, just use 2 inches. So that is done. So the next thing you want to do is your crotch extension now. So just take the round tie, around your thigh measurement. For me, I used like 29, 30, but for this, because it is a loose short, I'll make it 32. So 32 divided by 2, you'll be dividing that by 2. So that is 16. So plus extra 1 inch for seam allowance, 1/2 inch on both sides, that makes it 17. So the crotch is formed. Sorry, that is, I made a mistake. It should be this first line. Okay, the first line. So the next thing we want to do is to divide these 17 inches I have here into 2, which will give me 8.5. Then I'll come down here and mark 8.5. So now for the opening at the lower part, since I did 32 here, I can do 30 here at the lower part. So that 30 divided by 2 will give me 15. So 15 for the front, 15 for the back. So, but for the side seam, I'll just advise you to deduct 1/2 inch from the front and add to the back. So for this lower part now, the front will be 14.5, while the back will be 15.5. So that 14.5 now, you just divide into 2, so that the side seam will just be actually by the side. So I have 7.25 on both sides. 14.5 here. Remember, it is the upper one. I will just leave it at that. So this is 12.5 is okay. So now I'll just cut it all out. So what I did is to do the same thing I did for the front. So I'll just take one piece from the front that has the marking and place it on it. So for the back, I did 13.5 because I need extra half on this side because of the waist area of the back. So now, after placing it, for the crotch, I'm just going to add 1.25. I'm going to extend by 1.25 for the back. So this is where the crotch extension will get to. So having done that, the next thing I want to do is to come up by 2.5. Then here 1.5. Just hope the chalk is obvious because the fabric is very busy. So 1.5 from the hip measurement. So 1.5. Then I'll go up from the line 1 inch. So that's 1 inch. Crotch extension. Then for the waist, I'm just going to take the measurement from here, the 1 inch above and down here. So because here for the front I did 13, but here I have 13.5. So that is why I did it. So from here now I have 12 inches. And remember, for the front we measure 12.5, which is okay because the back of the trouser needs to be a bit shorter than the front at the waist. So this is what we have. So after cutting that, just to know, so the next thing is now the opening here. So what you have to do is to divide the midpoint as we did the other time. So you can just place the front on it. Remember, I left half an inch here, so I'll place it at that point and then get the midpoint here. And remember, the back is 15.5. Good. So you divide 15.5 into 2, so that should be 7 3/4 on both sides. So I'm going to connect this to the half an inch here, or you can just ignore it. And then take it straight to the waist. So the back is ready. To sew the trouser, the first thing you are going to do is to take the front, separate, and sew half an inch on the crotch. Also the back, half an inch on the crotch. Then if you want a pocket, just fit the pocket on the front. I have videos on how to fit the pocket. I'm through with the sleeve area, so this is how beautiful it looks. In case you don't want this, just skip this part, okay? And on the wrong side, this is what it looks like. Can you see? So you can always pull it up. You can see to have that ruffles there. So that is that. So the next thing is for us to fix the collar. For the collar, I've sewn it. Remember, it was this way. Okay, so I started from this part down here. Then I just flip it and iron. So this is what the collar is going to look like. Can you see? So that is it. So what you are going to do next is this. This, where the seam is, you match the center back. I already have a crease at the center back, so I know that. So you match this way. So once you match it up this way, then you keep sewing this way. So to make it easier, you can flip to this side. Then you just keep sewing it all down. Let me see. So I just sew it straight this way. So this is the slit, remember? Then I'm just going to sew it up to this point, and then I'm going to trim it off, okay? So then I will do the other side the same way. So that is the next step. So guys, the top is ready. So you can see how I fixed it up. Can you see with the slit here? So this is what I have, okay? The next thing was for me to just join it by the side, and this is what that looks like. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do now is to just hem the lower parts. First I will overlock, then fold it in to have a well finished hem. So that is it on it. And the same thing I did to the sleeve area is what you should do to the side. Okay, so that's what you should do to the side. So when you are folding the lower part, open your seam allowance before you fold. Then you can now put in the strips as I did for the sleeve. So now going back to the trouser. So this is the front. I already fixed my pockets. In case you want to learn how to do that, I have a video on that which I'll put in the description box below and on the screen at the end of this video. So I fixed the pockets on both sides. Okay, so the next thing is to join the front and the back together. So I'm just going to place it on each other and then sew the side half an inch, also this side half an inch, and then come to this part then sew it up, hem the opening at the lower part, and that will be all on the trouser. Here I've already have my band that I will be fixing to it. I also have a YouTube short video on how to fix this, which I will attach in the description box below. So I'm going to attach that and then show you the overall look. Through with the outfit, and it came out so nice. So this is the trouser, okay, and this is the top itself. So you have the ruched hair. So if you don't want it, it's like a 2-in-1 video. If you don't want this, you can always skip that part. So that is it. And also the lower part, you can see the slits. You could have yours more than this, okay. Also the lower parts, you can see that. So just keep it. So I'm going to show you how it looks, okay. So that is it on the outfit.